Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. I'm Natalie from Tanzania, and I'm so delighted today to have this opportunity to share this topic that is so dear to me as someone who has been working with women and girls for some quite a time. I'm also honored to share this day with also Arlis. So I would love, Rebecca, you can share that part.
Yeah, before going to the agenda, I wanted to discuss a little bit why did we choose this topic. We are going to talk about the women's economic empowerment, especially after the pandemic, because they are still in greater need and in challenging situations. The government strongly encouraged people to stay at home during the pandemic, but the partner violence and the high levels of unemployment among the women in small communities have left many of them without the necessary livelihood or supporting system. In small communities in underdeveloped countries, lack of opportunities during COVID-19 made marginalized or forgotten women, let's say better, fighting for survival. One of the things that really touched me, it was that many of them do have the skills, but they don't have job opportunities. And during the COVID, everything was very hard. We will engage with everyone to hear what is the situation in their countries and create active discussions. We will also talk about solutions to women who have been harassed, stigmas, and mental health in public. And me and Natalia will bring some practices and successful cases from respective countries. As I said, thank you so much for joining the second Global Meeting Hall meeting. And we will go forward with the agenda. Rebecca, please. So with the agenda, please, or the outlined agenda before the presentation, what we are going to do. Do you have that, Rebecca? No, it's on another, it's not on Prezi, it's on another document on the email I sent.
Oh, so it's on the PowerPoint that you sent?
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Outlined agenda. It is another document attached.
Okay, we will get that.
Yeah. It's on another email, I think. While Rebecca shares that, I see that so many of you have joined. I thank you so much. If we can do a quick salutation. What's your connection? What's your string working with the women? And where are you from? Who wants to take the word from participants? So while, okay.
I was away for 1 second. It looks like we have technical issues. Is that right,
Yeah.
Arlis? I'm happy to see if I can bring the Prezi up on my screen as well, if that's the issue.
So this is the agenda for today's. The topic is women economic empowerment in the wake of pandemic. Welcome note, basically what me and Nathalia just did. We will go with my presentation up to 5 minutes. Then it's Nathalia talking about the Africa woman and experience during current time. Then we will have the dividing group sessions. And as you can see, the most of time is for you and for our engagement. We will let questions at the end of the session, so please keep notes and there will be the session for questions. Now I want to go to my presentation, what I did, the presentation, what I did in Albania for the women in my country to help them move forward. So I did a project during this time. The next slide, please. This is me in one of the meeting with a woman. The objective of the project was a group of 15 women in Librash, Albania, will generate income for themselves and their families by raising chickens. We had a small grant with a former Peace Corps volunteer who worked in Librash during pandemic. And this grant funded the initial purchase of chicken and needed supplies to begin the work, as well an overnight trip to receiving training on best practices for raising the chicken. So we went to another city in Albania. Next slide, please. And 5 women from our group, along with me, sourced the initial chicken for breeding, as well as received training on raising chickens for egg and meat production. Upon return to my hometown, Librash, the chicken were raised and raised in the land owned by 3 of women. These properties are already used to raise other animals, were already there. And eggs and surplus chickens will be sold twice at weekly farmers market in Librash. This we did for the continuation of the women's group discussion for the tax. So the eggs would grow up to chicken, and some of the chicken will be sold at the market. Some of the chicken egg will be also sold. So we have 2, let's say, outcomes from this idea. One was the chicken that we can sell them, and one were the eggs. Next slide, please. Some of the profits were used to immediately benefit the women and their families, but it is also a priority to them to reinvest both in chicken production and in other activities as well. In the past, they have met for weekly coffee chats to learn from each other and develop ways to working together, but this cannot take place without a stable source of funding. Additionally, the women have ideas on other incoming or generating activities, and this profit can provide the necessary seed funding to act on those. For example, several of the women would be able to take money for sewing if they had access to a sewing machine, and they could purchase one of this from this money, from the chickens that will be generated. Next slide, please. This is a group with the women in Librash talking and having coffee with each other. The young girl in glasses is the American, which a Peace Corps volunteer, Daniel, and she worked with me in this group. As you can see at the top of the table are 3 Roma women, and the other, let's say, women are around. We put the Roma women in prioritizing because they weren't part of active initiative from civil societies or former project in the past. Next slide, please. These are the 3 superheroes who raised chicken in their gardens, and they made most of the work. They lived in rural areas of my hometown, and we gave the chickens to them, and they raised the chicken, they took the eggs, and they took care about the incoming. So we also engaged them in some economic group and work. Next slide, please. Thank you for your time, and I would like to end my presentation with a quote. Women are always saying, we can do anything that men can do, but men should be saying, we can do anything that women can do. And real quick, before passing the floor to my colleague Nathalia, I want to go to share 2 quick videos for you. During the quarantine, we also made a project about mental health and supporting it is the ecology of them and how heavy the poverty and other problems. And what we did, we took a young football player from Librash, and we went in the surrounding of Libraș and valleys and mountain, and we made some exercise for them in nature. And we practiced yoga, we practiced meditation, and it was very interesting because these activities were made by two young men, and it was an interesting perspective. Was me and the other expert in my organization, who was a young football player. And while we took the women overnight out, for example, to training or out of my hometown, their husbands were always calling me and, hey, where did you take my wife? Or where is she? We need cook, we need that. And it was an interesting idea, like also to break, let's say, stereotypes and boundaries, like two young men making projects about an empowering aged women. Rebecca, if you can please help me share the two videos to see them, to share with the fellows.
Of course, are they on the Prezi, or is it?
No, they are as file.
Got it. So I'll stop sharing and look for that, but you can continue.
And yeah, and all of these things that we did to women every time, that because the world is so small, and absolutely in Libraș in my whole time, every time I met them or I bump into their ways on the road, they have no words to thank me. And we usually like $10 per week or things like that from the chicken projects is enough to gather and to discuss or to buy the coffee and biscuits and in those round tables. And this is important because sometimes to keep things going, you have to keep the group energy together, or to keep people talk, or to be around with each other. And from the chicken project, this is what we got. Some of the women also got sewing machine. Some of them were good at cooking, and we bought them a bakery machine with the chicken incomings. So are the videos ready, Rebecca? Okay, you can play it another. So this is one of the videos that we did during the current time or pandemic. And as you see.
Do you want to play one more time?
Yeah. There's also another video in snow, a short one.
I'll
can play that too. To change the environment, because we did these videos out of our hometowns, was very helpful. And we talk about greater things or great initiative, but nothing can start if you don't have a healthy mind and if you are quiet, if you don't find the peace within you. Thank you so much for hearing my presentation. I would like to give the floor to my colleague presentation and their perspective working on the women in Africa. Nathalia, for you.
Thank you, Arlis. It's been a very informative, and I loved how flexible those women were. To our friends that are joining our session, we are so delighted. And I want to share my experience on this matter in African context. And I know that there are other fellows from other African countries too. They will also get a chance to share their experience during the breakout session. Rebecca, maybe you can be assisting me on those slides. I would love to stress back to why are we focusing on women? We know that pandemic didn't just focus on women, and we know that the consequences of the pandemic were not gender neutral. But why are we focusing on women? We focus on women because the ones that are the ones that get these economic shocks. For the case of African women, we know that they are the backbones of a lot of families. So we deal with women because once a woman is empowered economically, we are, as the world also, we arrive to gender equality. We know that once a woman is also economically stable, she also gets a power and a chance to make decision or to do things of such. So I'll share my experience during quarantine. In our country, Tanzania, we were not on lockdown, but we cannot say that we were not affected economically as women, because majority of women are in agriculture sector. And in our country, agriculture is the backbone of the economy. So now maybe they have, because now of the social distance, we cannot move from one country to the other country. So they lacked where to sell their goods. Also, they were those who are working on domestic work. So they had to stop, because now now families are staying together. So maybe some of the people couldn't need other helpers because they can now do things on their own. Even those that are on formal works, they were now to work from home. If you read the reports from UN, Billy and Melinda Gates Foundation reports on Africa during the pandemic, you'll note that as women now cannot move, maybe even to do the little that they could do to earn something, they were pushed to the poverty line beyond measure. So that really also increased gender-based violence. So women and girls were now abused a lot. And I remember in my country, there was someone that is working in a very big organization that came out and said, I think it was best when I was going to work, because now that I'm working from home, the GBV experience to me is now getting very harshly, because at least those times I could just go to work. So I at least meet other people. When I come home, it's a bit late. So the more and in African countries, we have this issue of gender-based violence in a very great percent. So the more families now stayed together, girls experience rape because now they cannot go to school, because some go to school also. For them it becomes like something. It's like a hideout for them to run away from whatever that is happening. In our agenda, I was also to explain about how are we doing with now that there is a vaccination. I'm so happy that in my country now we received vaccine from US, so we can now even travel. So if someone was doing imports and exports businesses, now they are free to move from our country maybe to China or to Kenya or to Rwanda or to South Africa and do things of such. And we are trying to give education to more people, the importance of being vaccinated, because now that's what will help us also to lower the pandemic. So lastly, I would love to share some of the struggle that women have faced in Africa. As I said before, that they lacked social protection, because as I said, as you can see in this shared screen sharing PowerPoint here, I said 51% of these women are in informal sectors, like some are in agriculture, domestic works, some own small and micro enterprises. So they really don't have someone who can speak for them. They need direct income or financial assistance to make them thrive now that there is pandemic. So women really, they suffer. I remember some people were raising concerns that they have been unfairly dismissed from work and they were not paid, and they really don't have someone that will raise a voice or speak for them. So this is the struggle that some African countries are facing, apart from my country. And yeah, for now, that's all I can share. And I would love maybe to bring back the outlined agenda so that we also know what next.
Yeah, so after that is dividing in small groups. Thank you so much for Nathalia for your sharing. As we saw in Albania, we had problems with women and economic or empowerment or work. They needed opportunities. Let's keep it simple. They need jobs because they have the skills, but there are big fishes in a plate. We can say the homes in Albania, and we saw in Nathalia that there is a need in education in Africa, in the vaccine. So there are two different big picture things. But the most important is that the women, there are some things that I would like to share with you, that if we empower women, a state is empowered. And women is the head and of the family, and men are the neck of it. Now we would like to share you into small groups to divide you. And the first question is, how did the woman in your country face quarantine and went through pandemic? What were some of the problems and difference in your home countries? This is the 15-minute session. And after the discussion, we would like to hear you in the main session and to share the experience with each other.
So everyone, I'm going to put you in small groups right now with 4 to 5 other people, or 3 to 4 other people rather. So I'm putting it on for 15 minutes and we'll see you back here then to share out. So enjoy your conversations. Hey, Henry, we're in small groups, so I'm going to put you in one in just a moment. We're discussing the challenges that women have faced in your community during the pandemic.
All right, yeah, I was in one of those groups, but I was having
Difficulty.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it again.
Yeah, I suppose I should be fine.
Okay.
So coming back to the main session, sharing what we identified for small groups discussion. I would like to say that we have 10 minutes available for discussion, and I would like for who of you is going to take the word and speak to keep it short and to conclude in 2 minutes, so we have room for every person possible. I will go from my group. We had a doctor in our group from Ethiopia, Segan, and I would like for her to come and to share her perspective. And after that, please raise your hand if who wants to talk. Thank you.
So again, it looks like you're muted.
So, Segan, are you there?
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Can you guys and girls? Sorry. Okay, from a doctor's perspective, the pandemic hit us very well. Like prior to the pandemic, there was unemployability rate, just like the rest of the world. But after the pandemic, there were high recorded sexual and gender-based violence, especially men and women. Mind you, from Ethiopia perspective, we're very culturally influenced, religious influenced families, but there were high cases of rape amongst men. So it was something shocking. We did not expect this. And it resulted from, the high rates of unemployability. And the second one is there was no supervision to the men or the girls who were absent from school because there was an interruption during that time. And there was also home deliveries since expecting mothers were afraid to visit hospitals. There was high rate of home delivery, which compromised the life of the baby and the mother as well. And also, the other point is, yes, men, due to the unemployability, there was high case of mental disorders like anxiety and depression was sky high. So for this, I appeared on a national television. I was amongst the panelists. And with me, there was directorate of the Federal Ministry of Health and delegates from UNFPA, and we discussed on the prevalence of STI and how the unemployability rates made an impact to the mental health in general. So from this perspective, all I can say is we were striving to make a change, like we were advocating for a policy change. Regardless of the pandemic, there needs to be a concrete base of rules that the citizens should follow, especially regarding sexual and reproductive health rights, because the victims didn't know where to go, like they didn't know who to approach after being raped. Or after getting an unsafe abortion, like they didn't know where to go. So we need to structurize the laws, and it's still an ongoing process. We're still working on that, and we're lobbying the Minister of Education as well to find an alternative, like to give education either through mass medias or other innovative approach. So we're currently focused on that. But all I can say is the majority of the areas affected was based on the sexual and reproductive health, right? And it was very devastating and is still ongoing.
Thank you so much for sharing. It looks like mental health is a topic for global, like everyone experienced it. And it is, I feel pity to say that the women, and also including also me, myself, and youngsters, and everyone is not comfortable saying that I got depression sometimes, or I'm in need, because when you seek for help, that is what gets up. If you don't open the door, no one gets into you. Anyone else who wanted to speak? Just open up the microphone. Yeah, Aaron, yeah, please.
So, hello everyone. So, I would also like to share what I shared to the small group discussion that we had. And it's also similar with Second said. It's also about when the disasters in amplifying sexual health risk and also amplifying gender-based violence. Because even before the pandemic, like these issues are already there. Like we are even pushed at the further regular fringes of the society, and the pandemic highlights all the injustices, inequalities that women and other marginalized sectors experience. I would like to share this experience that I had when I interviewed one of the women in the community. She went to the community clinic and asked for contraceptives, but the people in the clinic said that they don't have any services regarding sexual health. And they asked, she was asked to choose, do you not want to get the virus or not get pregnant? So it's kind of, sorry, bad, but it's kind of dumb to say that, because we can do both. Like we can prevent not having the virus and not getting unplanned pregnancy. But because most of the local government and even like the society as a whole are not ready to take on sexual and reproductive health and rights and issues, and the pandemic worsened that. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Who wants to go next? If everyone else wants to share. Yeah. Ala.
Thank you so much, and I'd like to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to talk about this. Actually, as you know, that quarantine is something that is comes abruptly without any notice, so it has shocked all the communities, and we became sometimes paralyzed because we are not prepared for this. And what I did during that period, that with my colleague, that we conducted a research paper. It was just like a quick assessment. It was like a baseline in order to know the current status of the situation and the impact of COVID-19 on the women in the Gaza, the Palestinian society. And what we have found, because I'm working as a project manager and meal manager, what I'd like to say that is sometimes evidence-based information. What I'd like to say that about I'd like to share in points what we have got in this research quickly. According to the results that we have, the women from 18 to 58, actually the effect of COVID-19 and the quarantine has been resulted by more violence and inability to access to the medical, psychosocial, legal, and social services. And more women have been laid off and lost their income sources, or enforced to have unpaid leave from their works, because there is no any trade exchanges, there is no any possibility to work. So the companies, they cannot generate a profit, so they have been forced to get unpaid leave or to be laid off. and the housework for sure that has been increased sharply, and the pregnant cannot get the periodical medical examination, which resulted in sometimes health deterioration, and sometimes some people have been, let's say, fall into depression trap. And for the women who are above 59, they have been suffering from the lack in the medical items and disposables, because the hospitals and the farmers cannot offer the medical items that they need. And as you know, that the majority of them are suffering from chronic diseases, and they need some medical items quickly and on time. And for the women with disabilities, they actually they have been reported that they have been suffering from an increase in the percentage of the GBV violence, especially against the women with disabilities, because they are considered for the most of the families as an additional pressure during the COVID-19, which is also another heavy pressure on the families, and especially the poor families. And they have been suffering from difficulty in access to the health and social services, especially the peer counseling services, or sometimes that can help them to keep along with, or to be productive and to be active in their communities. For the girls from 14 to 17 years old, they have been suffered from mainly from the interruption of the educational services. And as you know, Gaza is also suffering from the long darkness hour due to the electricity problem that we have been suffering from more than 10 years. And actually for the children from 18 to 21, they have been also suffering from the social distancing. And as you know, they have not been engaged with many recreational activities, or to go to their families, or to hang out in the gardens and something like this. And for the women with what is notable, that one of the vulnerable group were the women with cancer disease, an increase in the violence against them, difficulty in moving to obtain these services, and there is a severe shortage in the medical supplies that they need. Simply and briefly, that's what can I share with you according to
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. I would like to say that thank you so much. It is great to hear from all of your perspectives, but it's not great to hear all the problems that women face in each country. And I noticed here that we have Pema, Segan, Ayla, and some other helps who are nurses and doctors in the front line. And we have to thank you, and we are proud and grateful that we have you also in our group. Also, special guest, we have Jessica Lane and also Les, and hi to them too. We would like now, this is my favorite part, because we talked about problems, and we would like to go now to the last small group discussion, if it's possible, from 7 minutes, Eric, to make it. And the question is like, how did you and your organization address this problem? Did you solve any of them? Like me in my country, or Nathalia with exercising in the nature and small things, small victories. What did you do in your host organization to help them? And did you had any small victory? Eric, please, can you make us in small group discussion? Thank you. And also Nathalia, if you have anything to conclude it.
All right, everyone. You can join your small groups, and I'll see you back here in 7 minutes.
We are back. Let's wait. 14, 23, 24, 25.
So Arlis, I just want to make a note, everybody, it's 10 a.m. here on the East Coast, and that's officially when the session was supposed to end, but we're going to keep it going. You're welcome to stick around. I know Arlis is going to lead through a discussion, a share out of what you guys just talked about, but if you need to go, feel free to hop off. Otherwise, we're sticking around.
Yeah. So while before we close the session and hear also some opinions and we have the message, I would like all of you to take a group picture, follow if it's possible. We were 33, now we are 26. If you feel confident, then it's okay to open the camera and then we'll go on with the closing. Eric, can you share us in more screens? How is it that you make it in many squares?
I have a question. Do we ever get these pictures? Because we take pictures and I never get it, and I don't have it. I need my pictures.
You will have it now. Thank you. Actually, I'm having a picture. I see Sharaban and her beautiful smile. Hero, Segan. I'm getting picture of every screen. Amra, hello Amra. Miruna. Jessica, I miss you, Jessica. you look sun-kissed. And happy birthday. Thank you for being here and your support. I appreciate it. We have also Kinley. I'm taking screenshots of every slide. Harry, Reakshar, Soretti.
So Arlis, it sounds like you might be on like a single view of people, but you can use the gallery setting to see. It looks like I've got 20 on my screen. You can have at the same time.
Yeah. If you can
Don't worry, we are taking the picture and we can share it in the Pronto as well. I took screenshots as well.
Yeah, share them on Pronto. If you guys have WhatsApp groups, if you have Facebook groups, feel free to share them there. So Kazan, you should have plenty of these photos.
So before giving word to Amra and other people who raised their hands, I would like to invite my colleague, Nathalia, if she can open camera and be here with me. We would like everyone to thank for participation. And I want to say a lesson learned from a pandemic that as a humanity, we face so many new things to us and so many challenges, but when we are together, we are stronger. But especially when we empower, let's say, targets like women or LGBTI or poverty, these kind of marginalized targets, we are more beautiful and not that we are just empowered, but we are also humans. Kindness for each other. Nathalia, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I think a lesson learned from a pandemic and from the experiences that everybody has shared in here. I think there is one thing that I get here, that if pandemic has gone and affected each and every one of us, so we can take a lesson from there, that we as community leaders, so whatever solution that we are going to work after this nice program, we should find something that will go globally, not just something that helps one person. So yeah, so if we have this experience of pain from that are very similar, so we can come up with solutions that are very similar that will make a world a better place. And I love being here and seeing each and every one of you.
Thank you so much. The reason why I picked my colleague Nathalia to do this is because she's very inspiring. And every time I talk with her, I've seen her with a helmet doing construction work, and she's a strong woman for me. I would like to give the floor to Amra, but before going to Amra, I would like for Jessica to salutate the session and if she wants to say anything. Thank you.
Sure, yes, thank you, Arlis, for giving me a moment to share. I'm happy to be here with you all I know it's been a little while since I was been on a call with you, but I started my day today needing a little bit of inspiration and hope for humanity. So I knew exactly what I had to do. I had to come on this call with all of you, and that I knew it would be restored. And yes, it was, always challenging to talk about the really hard issues that everyone's facing in all of our communities. But I think, Arlis, you said it best, that we've got this global community, and same Nathalia, that together we're much, much stronger, and we can share these strategies and different solutions. And I'm just honored to be here with you all and be able to listen to all of your different perspectives. And yeah, I hope I can come to more and more of these sessions. And thank you, Nathalia and Arlis, for volunteering to lead a session like this. I hope it inspires others to lead global town halls or workshops and all of that. So thank you all.
Thank you so much for sharing, and it was all my pleasure and pleasure being with you. I also want to thank so much Eric and Rebecca. I don't know if she's here, for facilitating and helping. I'm passing now words to Amra, who wanted to say something, and everybody, we officially finished the meeting. Who is going to say I'm here until the last opinion? Thank you. So we had Amra with raising her hand previously. I don't see Amra. Does anyone else want to share something? If so, just open mic and feel free to share. Okay.
Hi, Arlis.
Yeah.
Just quick thought. It's just that more alike than different. The struggle, we were talking about the struggles, how women are facing in their home during the pandemic when they're stuck with someone in their home who they are not comfortable with. I've heard fellows saying the same thing, that you don't feel comfortable and you're confined in a home where you're perpetrators, where this is a nightmare. So having said all that, the work burden, the workload increased for women because they were working from home and they're taking care of the household works, they're taking care of the children's education. So the burden of women, a burden of work on women, it got increased, like it multiplied. So that was something that we've all dealt with. And we've witnessed around our community. And the things that all of us shared, I was fortunate to hear from Segan, Soreti, and also I remember Kazan and Pema also, how they helped each other, helped women in their community, and how their organization is working for like hotline. They can call up for help and rescue, and they can also take help for mental support, counseling, and things like that. So this is how we are doing, and it's still we are in the pandemic right now. We are not free from it yet, but as long as we are here, we continue to do what we are doing. I just hope every person, regardless of their age, sex, gender, they will be safe in their community, in their homes, in their roads, everywhere. So even in the cyber places, like there will be no cyberbullying, because I've seen cyberbullying during this pandemic. Everybody was frustrated and they just took out on Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, thank you so much for having this conversation, Arlis and Nathalia.
Thank you so much, Sharaban. I felt every word of you. Anyone else want to share anything? Say it now or keep it silent forever. Okay, then I have to close this meeting. Again, thank you so much for your time and your participation. Hope that you enjoyed as much as we did. And God bless you. Have a wonderful time and catch you in other activities. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.